Short sales, a topic that, boy, we dealt with a lot over the last 8 to 10 years, right? As we bounce through the Great Recession and now come back. They're, I wouldn't say out of vogue, but they're less frequent. But let's walk through some of the nuances of short sales so people understand.
Right, so the idea of a short sale is you're selling your house, and when you add up all the debt that's covering the house, the debt exceeds what you're selling it for. It's more debt than what the property's worth. But still, you want to sell the property. So it's a matter of...
that's typically coupled with some type of hardship, right? So not only do I owe more, but something happened in my life, death of spouse, loss of job, something kind of cratered my financial position, and now I can show the institution or whoever I owe the money to, I just physically can't keep up with these payments.
Right, the banks kind of call it imminent default.
Yes.
Where I'm about to default on this, and it's convincing the banks that you owe the money to that it'll be better for you to allow them to sell the property and get what you can than to foreclose or to not allow the sale.
Yeah, because in foreclosure in Michigan, they'd have to go through the foreclosure process, hire an attorney, go to sheriff's sale, sit through the redemption period, which is typically 6 months, best case, right? And then you have to go through a formal eviction process. So we have seen on a tightest timeline 9 to 12 months.
Right.
But you know, people are still sitting in their homes right now after they haven't made a payment since what, 2007, 2008?
Exactly.
What we call these kind of shadow homeowners. They're just sitting in the background. They're not on anybody's radar. But
so on a short sale, what you're basically doing is you're still reaching out to the lenders to find out what the payoff amount is for part of the sale, but you're also convincing them to release their security interest in the house, the mortgage, in exchange for less money. So the bank might be owed $100,000, but the sale proceeds aren't enough to pay the $100,000. So the bank's willing to take $80,000. They'll take less than what they're owed. The big challenge is there's two things that we're concerned about. As the title company, we're only looking for the release of the mortgage so we can transfer the property free and clear. But that $20,000 that the bank said they would take less, it's not always forgiven.
Correct. Yeah, that ends up being a deficiency. So when we're looking at structuring a short sale, we have to have line of sight. Do you have a primary mortgage or do you have a second mortgage? And if you have two mortgages, we have to deal with both lenders. Typically the second, depending on how the structure is, takes the biggest haircut. But not only are we looking for a release of those mortgages, but we want a release of any deficiency, any shortfall financially that the bank is going to be holding in connection with the transaction. Because if not, at least in Michigan, the bank has a right to pursue that on a personal basis for years after the transaction. And that's what we're seeing now. People are getting knocks on the door saying, hey, remember that short sale that we did in 2007 because you were between jobs and things didn't look good and we took a $30,000 shortfall on the sale? We'd like to talk about settlement on that.
Right, and some of the professionals involved may have told their client, you get to walk away. They're excited about the sale because the bank released the property, but they never released the underlying debt. And the banks have 6 years to pursue a judgment in the court system and then 10 years to collect on that, which they can renew for another 10 years. So you're talking about a potential 26-year timeline to collect that deficiency. So short sales, very delicate, and they have to be handled right.
They really do. You got to have somebody seasoned to work on those, either an attorney or a real estate advisor that really understands those two things. Release of not only the mortgage, but boy, I got to be able to have a release of all of that obligation ongoing.
That's right.